Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here, and welcome to my spoiler video for Power Rangers Dino Fury episode 14. Again, this is not me watching it, this is just me bringing you the key information and spoilers, and the episode reviews will come later once we get them here and we can watch them. But this was the big Lord Zedd episode. A while back we knew Lord Zedd was going to be returning for basically what is the Halloween special. We got that from the episode descriptions, and there's been little tidbits and a little bit of look at him on set. Now this was the actual episode, and it sounds like it was actually pretty good. I still have some personal mixed thoughts on it, but basically the monster of the week, which is like this resurrection monster. I can't remember the name of the monster. I'm sure I'll know it when I watch the show and then probably forget it because I don't care about the villain names. But this monster can like resurrect other monsters, and it's one from Ryusoulger as well, and it resurrects Lord Zedd, I guess, at one of his most evil points. So somehow it can resurrect him from a certain point in time, but then he also resurrects a bunch of other monsters from Dino Fury, and the kind of plot line for the Halloween episode is that Ollie's not afraid of anything, and the Rangers are trying to scare him, but then like all the Rangers, I guess, get put into sleep or something during the episode, and Ollie has to face this alone, and the cheesy resolution of that is like Ollie's real fear is losing his friends. I guess they defeat like the clone monsters and whatever, except for Zedd, and the thing that was interesting to me is that I guess Zedd escapes, because Zedd doesn't have his staff, which is a nice bit of continuity because his staff was with the Beast Morpher's chest, like the chest that Rygog or whatever his name was had. I think Rygog is something different. Rhyhorn or Rhyperior. I'm just doing Pokemon names. The bounty hunter guy from Beast Morphers that had the villain chest. I believe the staff was there. So he doesn't have the staff right now, so he kind of knows he's outmatched, and he winds up in the wind. So he might appear later again. So that's interesting. And then I guess the resurrection monster ends up getting put away by Void Knight and not destroyed. So maybe he's going to be used for another day as well. I think that's pretty interesting. And because this is a Halloween special, it is a clip show in part, and this episode sort of feels, again, I haven't watched it, but based on what I'm seeing, feels sort of reminiscent in a way to Making Bad, in the sense that they kind of took their forced clip show and they made it something a little bit neater than a normal clip show, and they made it important to the plot, because in the episode when they're trying to study Lord Zedd, they study Ranger history clips, and they use clips from MMPR and even some Beast Morphers and stuff. So that's a nice touch. You know, Making Bad really wasn't the greatest in the voice acting department, but I liked the idea of what they did with it to sort of extend the Dino team-up storyline, and I like that that's what they seem to be doing here. Is I don't know why they have to have contractually obligated clip shows. I hope that's something that goes away. I guess when we get away from Nick it probably will, but I mean, that goes away in the new era. But if they're going to have to do it, I like that they made this kind of important, especially if Zedd comes back later. As for Zedd coming back, the number one thing that always comes up in the last few days or the last week is, like, of course he was purified by the wave, and they do use that, they mention that in the clips, but I guess he can resurrect him somehow at a certain point in time as one of his most evil variants, if you will. I feel like I'll have a little bit better of a grasp on it when I actually get to watch the episode when it comes out here. But I guess that you could imply that somehow after he was purified, he was killed or he died or destroyed, because Power Rangers is the only kid show that can't use the word killed. It's not a pre-K show. But like somehow after the Z-Wave, Zordon was killed, or Zordon was killed during the Z-Wave, but sometime after Zedd was purified, he died, so maybe then he could be resurrected, but just as Lord Zedd at one point. Or maybe somehow, again, kind of what I talked about in the previous video, the idea of separating the evil Zedd part from the good, that somehow they could do that via resurrection and resurrect the evil part of him, because arguably that evil part died when he got purified. We'll have to see. Like, I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not really so hung up on the continuity of it, just because they do address it, and I appreciate little things like they actually address that his staff is not there. So I feel like they're addressing it, so I appreciate that. My only hang-up with it is I'm just tired of team-ups and returns and stuff. I know it's not a team-up, but you know what I mean. And I don't want to spoil anyone's fun, because it's totally fine if that's something you look forward to. And everyone's going to enjoy something different out of it. I just kind of hate how reliant we've become on like returns and cameos and stuff. Like, that's what we think something needs to be good. Like, this has already opened the floodgates of I hope so-and-so returns and returns and returns and returns, and I'm just like, ugh. So that's the only thing I don't like, is I hate that it opens up that can of worms, because I feel like with the continuity, you know, comics does stuff like this all the time. They at least address it. I'll probably feel a little bit better about it once I get to see the actual episode, and I think it'll be interesting. Something else that people bring up too is like, oh, this makes Zedd's sacrifice pointless or whatever, or Zordon's sacrifice pointless. Keep interchanging their names. Well, they both are Altarian. I don't think so. I mean, Zordon still saved everyone, And when it comes to the Z-Wave and Zed, it'd be a different story if Zed had this big redemption arc that they were undoing, but he didn't. He literally just went from being generic evil to someone that plays golf on the weekends. Like, it's not like it's some big redemption story to be invested in, because like most MMPR characters, his character traits are his description, and he's not really a character. So it's not like he had anything of a redemption arc. So that doesn't really bother me as much, too, because it's not like it's taking away that much of anything. And I think it's interesting that he's in the wind. This is probably going to send people speculating on whether there's going to be any sort of team-up, and then you're going to get people saying it was impossible because of restrictions. But I don't know what's going to happen. I didn't know this was going to happen until a few weeks ago, so you never know. You know, they could have honestly kept it a secret. You can't really never say never in terms of things, and it makes sense that they would do this if this is going to be the last season in this continuity for a while, that they would kind of do something neat like this. Something I will say, though, is the returning suit looks awesome. I was a little bit worried about it from the first pictures we got, just because it looked a little funny. Like, I wasn't about to fly off the handle, but I'm like, oh, this kind of looks like a classic returning villain suit. It looked a little weird with the big visor. I was thinking, oh, it might be like Octoroo, where he's got a weird look. But he looks awesome. He looks the coolest he's ever looked, honestly. So I'm really happy with the way he looked. And, you know, I'm interested to see how it turns out in terms of how he returns again. We know that Beast Morpher's Commander Lady is coming back, so that could definitely tie into the staff. Maybe he breaks into Grid Battle Force and steals the staff, and that's how it happens later. You know, we still have a season and a half for this to all return. And so I'm cautiously optimistic about it, because I think this is pretty cool. Part of me kind of wished it was just kind of a one-off Easter egg thing, but at least it actually sounds pretty cool, and like they acknowledge it, so I don't know. I'm also just concerned about the voice. I don't know what he sounds like in French, but we obviously don't have the voice actor to do it anymore. I don't think it's impossible to get somebody that can at least sound either somewhat close or just sound good, because the stuff we're making, no offense to the people that did the Making Bad stuff, but like, it was bad. Like, all of them sounded like Dino Thunder Kid. I don't want Zed to come out being like, "Hey, lady." So at least get something that sounds good. That's my concern with it. But we'll have to see. I'm looking forward to seeing this episode in person. What do you guys think of Lord Zed's return and look? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb this episode, ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.